Well, hello, my friend. Welcome to this quick free training where we are going to cover an overview of Farmer Metrics, what it is, and why it will add guaranteed financial results to your farm operation. Now, just a quick FYI. Legacy Farmer has developed and proven Farmer Metrics while working with more than 300 farmers and ranchers from 25 states over the past 3 years. And in 2021 alone, it gave our farmers the financial confidence, clarity, and knowledge to go into the banks and save $6,017,332 in bank interest alone. Now, guys, this is a big deal. So what you need to know about me right quick, my name is Jace Young. I'm the guy speaking to you here on this presentation. This is a picture of me, my family, and then my girls. And then why should you be listening to me? Well, guys, quick story. I grew up on a multi-million-dollar family farm operation in western Kansas. It was a town called Tribune. And unfortunately, at the age of 14, I witnessed the financial collapse of the entire operation. Now, guys, it was a gigantic operation. My granddad started it back in the 50s. We had a 14,000 head feed yard and a few thousand acres of ground. My dad was involved. My two uncles were involved. And then I also had 2 aunts involved, and then all of our cousins as well. And what you need to know is my dad sacrificed 40 years of his life, committed to the family operation, and honestly walked away with nothing. I was in the house with my parents when we got kicked out of our farmhouse and had to leave and literally walk away with nothing. Following that experience, though, I actually spent 6 years working as an ag loan officer, and this is where the awakening truly started happening for me, my friends. Working with farmers and ranchers, I quickly found out that most do not understand the financial impact that the banks have on their operation, especially when things are done wrong or information is not fully disclosed. Guys, this is why we created Farmer Metrics. It not only exposes and simplifies and clarifies the numbers inside of your operation, it exposes your position with the bank as well and the leverage that you actually have on them to get better interest rates, better loan structure deals, and everything around there. And this is what we're going to cover in today's presentation. But what you need to know is what problems does Farmer Metrics solve? Well, I'm just going to straight up show you a message that I sent inside of our community where I was asking our members a few simple questions. Question number 1 was, describe all the ways in which Farmer Metrics has helped you with financial decisions in your business. Number 2, how does having Farmer Metrics complete and updated make you feel as a business owner? Number 3, how do you feel walking into the bank now with Farmer Metrics complete? And then number 4 was, please share any other ways Farmer Metrics has helped you that would be valuable for us to know. And I'm going to just show you guys here right quick what some of them had to say. Garrett Ruskamp from Nebraska. Having Farmer Metrics complete and updated gives me confidence. Confidence I can take control of my business and the financial decisions I make. Walking into the bank with updated Farmer Metrics gives me the power and knowledge. It helps me control the conversation and hopefully the outcome with the bank. Cody Pruser from Texas. It gives me the absolute numbers on any purchasing decision. No emotion to it. Just yes, this decision makes sense, or no, it's not the right time to be doing this. It also gives me a clear picture of my operation at any given time and the ability to access this information anytime without having to wait on an accountant or anyone else. How many of you listening to this video made massive financial decisions completely blindly because you didn't have financial clarity on exactly where you're at inside of the operation? Number 2, he said, makes me feel a lot more confident in my decision making and in my overall position. No longer just thinking that you're in a solid position, but can actually show it. When an opportunity presents itself, it takes about 30 seconds to see if it is worth pursuing on a numbers basis. And number 3, finally, was confident and in complete control of the conversation with the bank. Guys, how many opportunities come up for you around the year when it's maybe buying additional equipment, renting additional ground, buying additional ground? These are massive financial decisions that a majority of farmers or ranchers today, guys, they're just making them emotionally. They're making them based on their gut feeling. What we do in Legacy Farmer and what Farmer Metrics allows you to do is we are making that decision, that financial decision, on sound numbers, backed by data. So this is just the value that Farmer Metrics has for our members. Next one, Ryan Dehan from South Dakota. Number 4, Farmer Metrics is a simple format that I can understand. I know where the numbers came from and why it is in each category. Guys, how many of you are just operating a business in financial disorganization and chaos? And I'm not talking just a small business. Some of you guys are running $2, $3, $4 million operations that are just in financial chaos, and you have no idea where any number came from or what it means. And then finally, the last one is Joey Tiegler from Nebraska. Farmer Metrics gives me the actual real numbers inside my operation. It forces me to make business decisions based on facts rather than emotions. Having them complete and updated gives me a sense of freedom and takes the weight of the numbers off my mind because it's so easy to see what they actually are. How many of you guys, when it comes to the finances in your operation, deep down, when you know that you don't know what they are, it just feels like a wolf is constantly hunting you? They're stuck deep in the back of your mind. It's like you can't get rid of it. It seems like it's just constantly coming after you. And this is what Joey's talking about here. Having them complete and updated gives him a sense of freedom and takes the weight of the numbers off of his mind. Maybe so he can focus on the operation, or maybe so he can focus on his family. So guys, enough of what our members had to say about it. What I want to do right now is jump into Farmer Metrics. I'm going to actually show you the software and we're going to walk through it. All right, my friends, so this is what our Farmer Metrics software looks like. Now, when a new member comes in, the first thing that we are doing is actually getting an updated assets, liabilities, and balance sheet from our members when they first come in. And what we're doing immediately is plugging this information into Farmer Metrics so we can get kind of the foundational numbers in here. Now, when we jump over to the loan analysis page, my friend, this is one of the most valuable pages inside of Farmer Metrics. The reason is because it exposes one key number that we all need to be paying attention to on a day-to-day basis, which is total borrowing power. Now, a lot of you guys, you don't even know what you could call the bank and ask for today. You have no idea what your leverage position is with them. You have no idea what your overall position is with them. You have no idea the value of even the assets that they have as collateral and what you can borrow against those assets. Guys, when you don't know this number, you're operating in just financial confusion. You have no idea. You're just wandering around, and when you go into the bank, you're hoping that they give you an answer. You're hoping that they say yes when you have an opportunity you want to take advantage of or whatever. With our customers, guys, we already know what the bank's going to say ahead of time. Now, like I said, I worked in the bank for 6 years. I know exactly what type of information these ag banks in your small communities are using to make decisions about your loans, your interest rates, and how they structure you overall. And what Farmer Metrics does, guys, is it exposes the bank completely. I literally show you every number that the bank would ever need to make financial decisions. I train all of our members on the terminology that the bank uses so that you know their game better than they do. That way, when you step into a conversation with your loan officer, it is you running the show. You're not going in there asking for permission. You're going in there stating the game plan that you have ahead of time because you already know what the numbers say, my friend. Now, you need to understand how powerful this is. So let's walk through this page here a little bit, and then I'm going to show you some other things in here as well. So what we're doing here, in order to get to this number of total borrowing power, what we're doing is we're taking the total assets, right, that this customer may have, and then we're also factoring in total liabilities. Now, looking down here, you can see we have the assets on this side and we have all of our debts on this side. So we have current assets, intermediate assets, and then long-term assets. And then we also have the market value of those assets as well. Now, how did we get these numbers in here? Well, on the assets page here, when a customer gives us their balance sheet, we're going through and putting in all of their assets as they have listed here. And then we're asking them one simple question. Does the bank have this asset as collateral? Because if it does, and they could sell it in the event that they had to foreclose on you, they obviously have a collateral assignment on there. So what we need to do is make sure that we hit this button and say yes right here, because then it pulls this asset to the front page. And so, for example, here for cash and equivalents, you can see we have a total of $39,495. The bank has a blanket security agreement on this customer, meaning if they had to sell everything, they could take the money that's in your checking account. But watch this. What I want to show you here is we have a total of $39,495. When I hit that yes button, it pulls that number to the front page here. And when I look at cash and equivalents, $39,495. Now, so all the market value of those assets are listed right there. Let me get back to the front page here. All the market value of those assets are listed right here. The next thing that we're factoring in is our loan to value. Now, what I've discovered is a lot of farmers and ranchers do not understand what loan to value is. And what this says and what the bank is saying is they're saying, okay, customer, if you give me market livestock worth $19,000, I'm not just going to loan you $19,000 against them, right? I need some wiggle room here. I need a safety net for me in case I do have to sell these assets or liquidate these assets because you don't make your loan payment. And what the loan to value is in this example is we're doing 75%. So you give the bank market livestock for $19,000. They're saying, okay, we'll loan you 75% against the value of that asset, which gets us to a total bank loan value of $14,490. Now you can see we have this in there for each one of our assets going down. Now, the total value of, if we add up the bank loan value for all of these, gets us the total amount of money that we could actually get from the bank. Now, what else do we need to factor in here? Well, we also have to factor in what our liabilities are as well. And so we have real estate loans down here. We have term loans here. And so what we do is we add up the entire bank loan value, right? This is the amount of money that the customer, the farmer, can say, okay, bank, I'm giving you all these assets right here. This is the amount of money I should be able to borrow against them. And then we're subtracting off the amount of loans you have against them. And what that gives us is our total borrowing power and position with the bank. Now, the stronger this position is, the more leverage you have over the bank. And this is what I mean by that, my friends. Now, what's beneficial about Farmer Metrics is we can actually break up each individual entity. So what you'll notice is this customer right here, we have 5 different entities in there for them so they can keep everything structured and organized. So within here, if I just want to look at the loan analysis for the farm and the assets that the farm has, great, this gives me that. But what if I wanted to look at what the trucking company had, for example? I can pull up the numbers for the trucking company right here, and it shows me that position as well. What if I wanted to look at everything combined and see what my overall comprehensive view of my operation is, which I'm telling you guys, the banks want to see that. They want to see things broken down per entity, but they also want to be able to look at a comprehensive view as well. But as a business owner, I want to be able to look at things broken down, and I want to be able to quickly look at how things look combined as well. Well, all I have to do is hit this all entities tab here, and it pulls in all the assets and all the liabilities from all the entities, and we can see the total borrowing power of this customer is $761,000. This is the number that if they wanted to today, they could call in and say, hey, Mr. Banker, you have assets in the amount of $2.4 million up there as collateral. We want you to advance $761,000. And the bank should have no problem doing that. The reason is because they already have the collateral and the assets to cover that. They're fine. They're doing just fine over there. And in the event that the bank were to sell all of your assets today, let's say they sold all $2.4 million worth of your assets, and then they had to come over here and pay off all your liabilities as well, well, what's left over after that? This is that total bank safety net of $1.2 million. So this is what this allows us to do, my friends. When you have a super strong position like this, which is, working with more than 300 members, farmers and ranchers all across the country going through this, we've discovered that a lot of them have solid borrowing power positions from anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. And then we compare that to the interest rate that they're getting, and we found some discrepancies. The reason is because if you have total borrowing power of $500,000 to $1 million, what type of risk are you to the bank? Well, you're of no risk at all. You are a grade A customer there. They should be more than happy to give you more than favorable interest rates. So when I talk about at the beginning of this video how our customers took back more than $6 million in interest in 2021 alone, it's from knowing what this number is, and also knowing exactly what the bank is looking at, how they're making decisions, and again, how to run that conversation. Okay, now let's jump down into the next important thing here. Guys, you have to know what this number is. Regardless, you have to know what this number is. It's going to change how you make daily decisions, how you do projections, how you make financial decisions inside of your operation. Now, the other thing that we have here is monthly cash flow statements for each one of the entities. Now, what's great about this is this customer went through and they put in, again, we're on the trucking company here. You can see up here at the top, and they went in and they put in their projections for 2022. So they projected out their income that they're going to have. They projected out their expenses that they're going to have. We can also jump over to the farm operation as well. They projected out what their income is going to be and also their expenses are going to be. Now, what's great about this is I have a month-to-month detailed breakdown of each one of my businesses that I can come and look at a glance. I can also put notes here so I can see exactly what I purchased, which I don't have to tell you guys, but you're only making 1,000 different financial decisions throughout the year. It's kind of hard if you're in November to remember what you sold or bought in February. Right? So again, here, we're coming in and putting in all this information. But the other piece here too, guys, is my members here inside of Legacy Farmer, they send all of this data to their banker. And guess what's happened? Well, what used to take them a week or 2 weeks to get bank renewals done for their line of credit now takes 2 to 3 hours. When they used to be spending all their time answering questions and going back and forth with their banker and getting emails and texts and all this stuff, all this information is already provided to the bank. Guess how many questions they have? None. Because we're providing them with every level of detail of financial information they would need to determine your interest rate and structure your loans, right? And make sure they get you approved quickly and efficiently so you can go on about operating your business, which is exactly what you want to do. So rolling through this, we have a detailed breakdown month by month, and then it gives us an actual or an annual total down here as well. So with any operation we have, we can jump down here and I can see what I'm projected to make in as far as income. If I want to jump over to this customer's trucking company, I can come down here and very easily see, okay, for the trucking company, after all expenses are paid, we're projected to do $131,190. Now imagine the look on your banker's face when you provide them with this level of detail. Imagine having notes on all of these income and expenses expenses. If you're selling grain, what's your projected to sell it at, number of bushels and price. If you have massive expenses coming up, having explanations on those and notes on those as well to answer the banker's question ahead of time. Because how many times have you gotten random phone calls from your bank that said, hey, you just spent $50,000. What was that for? And that's the type of stuff that's going to piss you off as a business owner. Let's just be honest. So our members are sending in a detailed breakdown of loan analysis page and their cash flow for each one of their entities. But here's what's great about this too, my friends, is on the cash flow, if I have multiple different entities, what happens if I want to see all the entities combined? All I have to do is hit this all entities tab, and it's going to pull in all the numbers from all the entities across the board so I can have a global cash flow view of where I'm going to be at the end of the year. And you can see right here, if we scroll down, this customer is projected to earn $171,000 by the end of 2022. Now, each and every month, we're going in and plugging in our actuals so we can compare between our projected and our actuals on a month-to-month basis. And through doing this, guys, we're learning about our habits. We're learning about how we make financial decisions. And I'm just going to tell you, after you do this for a year, you're going to completely think differently about any financial decision that you make inside of your operation, because mentally you're going to go back to your cash flow. Mentally, you're going to go back to, okay, how does purchasing this ground or buying this piece of equipment impact my overall total borrowing power with the bank? And these are the things that change people. These are the things that change the way that you operate as a business owner, so that you no longer make emotional decisions shooting from the hip and hoping one day that it turns out and works out. Because I think we can all agree, my friend, there is no small financial mistakes inside of the farm operation, and Farmer Metrics keeps you from making those mistakes. And one final very, very, very important part here that I wanted to add into when it comes to the cash flow projections here are these four numbers right up here. So we have our target income. We also have our actual line of credit beginning balance, our projected line of credit beginning balance, and our operating loan limit. So I'm going to show you exactly how these are so valuable in you predicting and really forecasting out any mistakes that could happen inside of your operation in the future. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. So let's say, for example, here that this customer had an operating loan limit of $250,000 on their farm operation. And then let's say January 1st, they carried over an operating line of credit balance. It is no secret that going from December to January, you guys carry over an operating line of credit balance. You're not paying it off every single year. Some of you are, but most of you are carrying this over. And let's say on January 1st that their balance for their operating line of credit was $200,000. Okay, we're just using these examples here. What we're doing here at the very bottom of Farmer Metrics, you can see that we're calculating and also keeping track of their operating loan balance throughout the year. Now, what does this do for us? Well, when I'm trying to game plan for the rest of the year, a perfect example is a lot of our members come in and they always get tight later in the year when it gets around harvest season and things like that, because you got a lot of money going out and your income hasn't come in yet. So how many of you have run into the situation to where you've maxed out your operating line of credit, bills are piling in, and you're trying to get with your banker to get a renewal done, or to get an increase done, or to get a separate note put together so that you can continue operating and paying your bills, and then you're in the middle of harvest trying to have this conversation, and let's be honest, it's a shit show. It's really frustrating. It's really aggravating, because you just want to get to taking care of harvest and get back to running the operation, but instead you have to deal with this stuff. Well, what this allows us to do is, in this example, let's say we have an operating loan limit of $250,000. I'm starting my year on January 1st with a balance of $200,000. And in this first month here, you can see with our income and our expenses in January, we're showing a projected loss of $16,000. Well, the only way to cover that is we have to advance on our operating line, right? So we started the month with $200,000. Now we're ending the month with $216,000 because we had to account for this $16,000 loss here. So we had to advance money on there to pay our bills. Now what we're doing is, with the income and expenses every single month, it's keeping track and projecting out what our operating line of credit balance is going to be. Now, what does this do for me as a business owner? Well, if my limit is $250,000, and let's say the high point here is July, right? I'm projected to get up to a balance of $229,000. Let's say I'm not comfortable with $20,000 worth of wiggle room, because again, we have unknown repairs come up, we have unknown bills come up, price of fertilizer and chemical could be skyrocketing. There's all these unknowns inside of our operation where these expenses could come up and press us up against our operating loan limit of $250,000. So instead of getting to that point in time in July and then having to call your banker and you're rushing around, everything's chaotic, you're in the middle of harvest trying to get an increase or a separate note so you can continue operating, if we we know 3-4 months in advance that, hey, we're going to be approaching 230 right here, our limit's only 250. How about instead of handling this in July, I contact my loan officer back in March and I say, hey man, just so you know, I'm going to send this over to you. We're projected to hit 230 there. I'd like to have a little bit more wiggle room. What can we do about increasing my operating loan limit up to 300,000? Now, my friend, you need to understand what type of picture this paints to your banker when you know your numbers at this level of detail. And not only just by the month, but projected out for the entire year, that you have a game plan in place for your business. You know with a pretty accurate level where you're going to be at throughout the year. And guys, you need to understand too, relationship with your banker matters. And what we do with our members inside of Legacy Farmer is we push them to send all of this information to their banker, their loan analysis, their balance sheet, their cash flow pages every single month. And the reason for that is it may not be because they want it or need it. We're just showing proof that you are on top of your business, that you actually know where you're at financially, and you are keeping track of this stuff. Because I can promise you, every single week when your banker goes and sits in loan committee from basically July through December, guys, they don't have anything to talk about. They're not talking about anything. There's no new loans. Everybody's out farming. Everybody's out working. There's not really too much new business going on. Give them you to talk about. Say, hey, I just got John. Let's say your name is John. I just got John's finances for the month. He's on top of things. He's looking good for the end of the year. We're projected to have this amount of profit at the end of the year. Line of credit balance is projected to do this. Imagine what type of trust that builds in that relationship with the bank. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, the customers that I worked with in 6 years of being an ag loan officer, the ones that were on top of their numbers like this, got the best rates, got the quickest return time on getting new loans set up, and they were serviced a lot better because they deserved it. So my friends, this is a very important point here, that we must be keeping track of our operating loan here throughout the year so you don't get caught in a bind later in the year. And again, sending this information to your banker on a monthly basis builds such a strong relationship. So my friend, that was a quick rundown of Farmer Metrics. Let's jump back over to the slides and we'll continue on with this presentation. All right, my friends, so some of you watching that after, you're going to be so intrigued and you're going to be like, okay, well, what if I want to work with Legacy Farmer? What if I want to get involved into this and set up Farmer Metrics for my operation so that I have the financial clarity, confidence, and knowledge to walk into the bank, own the conversation, make better financial decisions inside of your operation based off of proven numbers, data, and rather than just emotions? Well, the first question you might ask is, what will it be like working with the Legacy Farmer team? I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be structured, it's going to be organized, it's going to be efficient, and it's going to be fast. This is the journey that we take each one of our members through. And up there in the top left, you can see the first thing that we cover is phase number 1, which is Farmer Metrics. You need to know the detailed numbers about where you're at within your operation and what your overall position is with the bank. Phase number 2 is cash flow strategy. So setting up individual cash flows for each one of your businesses so you actually have a freaking clue what's making money and what's losing money. Phase number 3, we get into entity structure, which helps us organize our businesses. We're able to separate liability risk. We're able to finally have clean books and clean numbers. Phase number 4 is team structure. Phase number 5 is just business management. Phase number 6 is field metrics, so we can have a detailed breakdown of a field by field profit and loss statements. Phase number 7 is monthly bookkeeping, and that happens when we have clean entity structure set up, so we can have clean monthly bookkeeping. Phase number 8 is we lead our members through a tax planning strategy on a quarterly basis. With each one of our members, we're meeting with them on a quarterly basis, calculating their income and expenses. We're doing projections through the end of the year so that by the end of Q3, they already know what their taxable income is going to be, or we're going to be really close, rather than walk into their accountant's office on December 15th and figuring out that they have to spend $200,000 in the next 2 weeks to be able to make things happen. Okay, and to not have to pay in the massive amount of money that they would to the IRS. Phase number 9 is annual tax filing. And then phase number 10 is the network and the calls, guys. So I showed you the images of our members earlier. And that was just a quick glance at the amount of activity that we have actually inside of the Legacy Farmer Network, which is a network of more than 300 farmers and ranchers just like yourself spread across the country. Now, the next question you might be asking is, how do I get started working with Legacy Farmer? Well, that's pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to introduce you to our head of enrollment. Her name is Joni Krumlachek. She's the one that handles all the phone calls and all the applications that we have from customers wanting to come in and get Farmer Metrics set up and really be a part of our business. And I'm going to let her explain this entire process to you right now.
Hey everyone, like Jace mentioned, I'm Joni Krimlacek, Head of Enrollment here at Legacy Farmer. Really quick, I'm going to talk with you guys about next steps and how to prepare for a phone conversation with me. So after this video, you're going to fill out an application and then find a time on my calendar to schedule a call. So I've spoken with anywhere from 40 to 60 people on a monthly basis over the last 2 years. So what I have found is the best way for you to get the most value on these calls is a few different things. Number one is be really detailed with your application. That way, when we get on the phone, I already know enough about your operation and we can just dive in and get to work and come up with a game plan for you. Number two is to be in a quiet place. Let's just spend the next 30 to 45 minutes just really focusing on you and what you need help with and how we're going to move forward. And then number three is to have all of the decision makers for your operation on the phone. Now, for most of you, that's going to be a spouse. For some of you, it may be a business partner of some sorts. When we're on the phone, we're going to really dive into what do you need help with, and we're going to come up with a specific game plan for you. Anyway, that's all I've got, and I'm looking forward to speaking with all of you very soon.
All right, my friends, so you heard the entire process there from Joni. So your next action items are to click the link, fill out the application, and schedule your call with Joni, and we will be talking to you soon.